Golf is a game played by more than 66 million people around the world. Most people who play the sport are recreational golfers. They come in all shapes and sizes. They use different swings and have a wide range of personalities. Professional golf is a different story. We have seen some unique characters in the past, such as Walter Hagen, Mo Norman, Seve Ballesteros, and Lee Trevino. But those players stood out for a reason. They were not common. The typical professional golfer is far more reserved. Fit in. Do not be different. Play the course. Keep your mouth shut. Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Quiet, please. That all changed in 1991, when a man named John Daly began his first full season on the PGA Tour. Right away, you could tell he was different. It was not just the mullet. It was his swing, the way he played, and the way he interacted with fans. In almost no time, he became a hero to millions of people. He also became a major problem in the eyes of golf's elitists. John Daly would be repeatedly fined and suspended. He would struggle with addiction. He would marry and divorce 4 times, yet he still managed to build one hell of a career and a life for himself and his family. Most people did not know who John Daly was at the beginning of the 1991 PGA Tour season. That changed during one weekend in August at a tournament he was never supposed to enter. I'm just gonna go out, fire at the hole, and see if I can win this thing. Oh, there goes the club in the water. I'm done. I've had it with the USGA and the way they run their tournaments. When you hit good shots in there and you are not rewarded for them, I think it is crazy. John Daly was born on the 28th of April, 1966 in Carmichael, California. When John was 4, his family moved to Dardanelle, Arkansas. They lived near the 9-hole Bay Ridge Boat and Golf Club. It was there that Daly learned to play golf. When he was 6, his father bought him a set of full-length men's McGregor irons. John did not want the clubs cut down to fit his height. He later said those long clubs were one of the main reasons his backswing became so long. People told the young Daly that he would never become a good golfer with a swing like that. In his autobiography, My Life in and Out of the Rough, Daly said, "I just wanted to prove them wrong." Even as a child, he swung as hard as he could at every ball. That became the famous grip it and rip it style that defined his career. For practice, Daly loved hitting chip shots with only his left hand. He said that helped him develop his touch around the greens. His game was largely self-taught. The only real instruction he received as a child came from Jack Nicklaus, although not in the traditional sense. I learned from Jack Nicklaus, whether he knew it or not. It was a Golf Digest golf lesson series. The pictures almost looked like cartoons. They showed how to fade the ball, how to draw it, and where the arrows went. He showed his grip, and I learned the interlocking grip from him. Daly later moved with his family to Locust Grove, Virginia. At the age of 13, he won the men's club championship at Lake of the Woods Country Club. Some members complained. The next year, the club introduced an age restriction. 13 was also the age when Daly got drunk for the first time. He and his brother, Jamie, drank a quart-sized mason jar of homemade wine. Their mother came home, found them drunk, and punished them with a belt. Daly has usually spoken warmly about his mother. The same cannot be said about his father. By Daly's account, his father could be abusive. When Dad was sober, he was great. It was when he was drunk, and that was a lot of the time, that he was scary. The family later moved to Zachary, Louisiana, and then to Jefferson City, Missouri. Daly excelled in both golf and football. He won the Missouri State Amateur at 16 and became an excellent field goal kicker. Eventually, the family moved back to Dardanelle, Arkansas. The move helped Daly qualify for in-state tuition. In 1984, he won the Arkansas State Amateur Championship. That same year, he entered the University of Arkansas on a golf scholarship. His first coach was Steve Loy, who later worked with Phil Mickelson. When Loy first met Daly, he was concerned about his weight. The coach's solution was boiled chicken and vegetables, Diet Coke instead of regular soda, no more beer, and cigarettes. Yes, his diet advice included smoking cigarettes. Daly followed the plan and quickly lost around 65 pounds. Loy also demanded discipline on the course. That meant hitting many irons from the tee instead of pulling out the driver and attacking every fairway. In 1986, Bill Woodley took over as coach and used a very different approach. Woodley wanted to win. That meant using each player's strengths. Daly was finally allowed to play his natural style, driver, then lob wedge, on many holes. Under Coach Woodley, we were a lot closer together and played a whole lot looser. My junior year, golf became fun again. That year, while still an amateur, Daly qualified for the US Open at Shinnecock Hills. He missed the cut. College was an eventful period in his life. He developed several bad habits and nearly died from alcohol poisoning. But he survived and prepared to become a professional golfer. Daly left the University of Arkansas and turned professional in 1987. Within days, he won the Missouri Open and collected about $6,300. Over the next several months, he played well in smaller events and earned close to $30,000. With his confidence rising, he entered the brutal PGA Tour qualifying school, hoping to earn a card for $1,988. He failed to qualify. I was surprised, shocked, and disappointed, but I did not beat myself up. I had played well in the 3 months since turning pro. I just had to keep doing what I was doing, make a little money, and get my game ready for the next Q school. Daly decided to travel to South Africa and play on the Sunshine Tour. The move went well. By the end of the season, he had earned about $23,000 in 8 events. He failed at Q school again the next year, but he did make the cut at the US Open at Oak Hill in Rochester. He finished tied for 69th. Later that year, he played in a unique event called the Insurance Youth Golf Classic. Each group included 1 professional and 3 junior golfers. One of the juniors in Daly's group was Tiger Woods. Daly failed to advance through Q school again in 1990, so he returned to the Sunshine Tour. He won twice, gambled away much of his money, and destroyed his first hotel room, including punching a television. After South Africa, Daly returned to the United States. He competed on the newly created Ben Hogan Tour, now known as the Korn Ferry Tour. He won the 1,990 Ben Hogan Utah Classic. Most importantly, Daly finally made it through Q school and earned his PGA Tour card for the 1,991 season. His first event as a PGA Tour member was the Northern Telecom Open. He shot rounds of 73 and 79 and missed the cut. He then made several cuts and earned some money. He tied for 4th at the Honda Classic. Later, he tied for 3rd in Chattanooga. Then he missed 2 cuts immediately before the PGA Championship. The 5-year-old was having a fairly normal rookie season. What happened next at Crooked Stick was anything but normal. It became one of the most unlikely stories in golf history. Daly had not earned enough money to qualify automatically for the 1,991 PGA Championship. The tournament was being held at Crooked Stick Golf Club in Carmel, Indiana. Crooked Stick was designed by Pete Dye. At 7,289 yards, it was the longest course ever to host the PGA Championship at that time. Daly was on the alternate list. He was not 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. He was the 9th alternate. I was far enough back to figure I had no chance in hell of getting in. Then players began to withdraw. Jumbo Ozaki was injured. Ronan Rafferty did not accept a place because his wife was expecting a baby. Mark James stayed in England to earn more Ryder Cup points. Gibby Gilbert had an inner ear infection. Paul Azinger withdrew because of pain in his right shoulder. On Wednesday evening, less than 24 hours before the tournament began, PGA official Ken Anderson called Daly. Daly had moved up to 4th on the alternate list. He decided to drive from Memphis toward Indianapolis, just in case. He also hoped to have a drink with his friend Fuzzy Zoller. The drive was nearly 500 miles and continued deep into the night. Meanwhile, Nick Price told the PGA he would not play. His wife, Sue, was about to give birth. Bill Sander was next on the alternate list, but his back was hurting. Mark Lai also declined the place. Brad Bryant was next. Because of his recent poor play, He did not want to embarrass himself at a major championship. That left John Daly. I told the PGA office where I would be staying. When Betty and I rolled into the residence inn at 2:30 inches the morning, the message light was blinking. It was Ken Anderson saying, "You are on the tee at 1:58 on Thursday." Nick Price's caddy, Jeff Squeaky Medlin, was already at the tournament. Because Price withdrew at the last minute, Daly had Squeaky on his bag. After a large breakfast at McDonald's, Daly arrived without a practice round. He had never played the course. He had barely even seen it. Then he teed off on Thursday afternoon. Squeaky and I hit it off from the start. My only strategy was to go out there and kill the thing. Squeaky was fine with that. Not once did he advise me to play defense. He would hand me the driver and say the same thing. "Kill it, John." So that is what I did. Daly did not finish his opening round that afternoon because play was suspended. Tragically, spectator Tom Weaver was struck by lightning and killed while walking to his car. Daly completed the first round with a 3 under par, 69. He was only 2 shots behind co-leaders Kenny Knox and Ian Woosnam. Friday was even better. At the 600 yard par 5 fifth hole, Daly reached the green in 2 shots. He shot 67 and took a 1-stroke lead over Bruce Lietzke. Near the end of Friday's round, a fan reached out a hand as Daly walked toward the next tee. I slapped him a high five. No big deal. It just seemed like the natural thing to do, but it caught on. The next thing I knew, I was high-fiving every hand I saw. On Saturday, Daly shot another 69. He entered the final round with a 3-stroke lead over Kenny Knox and Craig Stadler. After the intense media attention, Daly was invited to an Indianapolis Colts preseason game. At halftime, he and his wife, Betty, walked onto the field. I had never seen a city embrace somebody like that, especially someone they had never heard of 3 days earlier. I felt like I was the mayor of Indianapolis. After the game, Daly returned to his motel and slept through the night. On Sunday morning, he entered the locker room and found notes wishing him luck. One message stood out. It was from Jack Nicklaus. "Go get him." Many people expected Daly to collapse under the pressure. Golf has seen it many times. An unexpected contender plays brilliantly for 3 days, then nerves and self-doubt take over on Sunday. Daly bogeyed the first hole. Was he beginning to choke? He answered with a birdie on the second. He also birdied the long par 5 fifth. For the week, Daly played the par 5s and 1 eagle, 10 birdies and 5 pars. At the par 3 13th, he made a 2.5-foot birdie putt. At the par 3 17th, he made double bogey after trouble in a bunker. Even then, he carried a 3-shot lead to the final hole. On the 18th tee, Squeaky did not hesitate. He handed Daly the driver. The final hole was a par 4 with water along the right side. I figured that even if I hit it into the water, I could still make bogey and win. I had started the first hole on Thursday with that club, and I was going just as hard on the last hole on Sunday. Daly found the fairway. He then hit an 8-iron to about 30 feet. That was when I began my victory walk. I walked right up the middle of the 18th fairway, knowing I had done it. There were around 35,000 people at Crooked Stick that day, and I felt like every one of them was on my side. Daly completed the unbelievable victory. He won the PGA Championship by 3 strokes. He shot all 4 rounds under par. He won with a caddy who was not his own. He won on a course he had never played. He won a major he did not know he was entering until 2:30 on Thursday morning. He was also the first rookie to win a major championship since Jerry Pate captured the 1976 U.S. Open. Daly has often explained how perfectly Crooked Stick suited his game. At the time, he was hitting a high draw. The course was ideal for that shot shape. It also helped that he could drive the ball beyond many of the hazards. Another major factor was Jeff Squeaky Medlin. Daly always praised the caddy's work. After the second hole, we had 202 yards to the pin. He asked, "What do you think?" I said, "Probably an 8-iron for me." He said, "Okay, now I know you are 4 clubs longer than Nick. We are good." He handled me that way all week. I could not have done it without Squeaky. He was the best. For Daly, the most meaningful part of the week, other than winning, was the support from the fans. The fans rallied around me. They have been with me ever since. No matter how I am playing and no matter how much I have screwed up, it all began in Indianapolis. The victory remains one of the greatest stories in golf history. It launched John Daly into overnight stardom and brought him enormous money. But his personal life was about to take center stage. It threatened to destroy his career almost as quickly as it had begun. During the week at Crooked Stick, Daly had been sleeping in a cheap motel. By Sunday night, everything had changed. He earned $230,000 for the victory. Without creating a public spectacle, he donated $30,000 to the family of Tom Weaver, the spectator killed by lightning during the first round. The money was placed in a college fund for Weaver's two daughters, Karen and Emily. Both later attended college with help from the fund. This was one of many charitable acts Daly made over the years. He also supported organizations including the Make-A-Wish Foundation and Boys and Girls Clubs of America. He donated proceeds connected to the music albums he recorded. Later in 1991, Daly finished third at the Tour Championship and earned another $138,000. He was named the 1,991 PGA Tour Rookie of the Year. At the beginning of 1,992, he signed a major sponsorship agreement with Wilson, reportedly worth $10 million plus performance bonuses. He also signed a 3-year, $400,000 agreement with Reebok. Golf-wise, 1,992 began badly for Big John. In February, he failed to sign his scorecard after a second-round 81 at the Australian Masters. He was disqualified, and the tour fined him. It was the first of many penalties. He tied for 19th at the Masters, which was a solid result. At the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach, he missed the cut. He made the cut at the Open at Muirfield, but shot 80 and 74 over the weekend. Then he returned to the PGA Championship as the defending champion and finished tied for 82nd. Daly later explained what had happened to his game. Pretty much from the moment I won the PGA, fans everywhere wanted one thing. They wanted to see me hit driver. They would yell, "Kill it, John, grip it and rip it," like a big idiot. I listened to them. I pulled out the driver even when I knew better. I made a lot of big numbers throughout 1,992. Even so, Daly won the BC Open at 18 under par. He won by 6 strokes. That victory proved he was not a one-hit wonder. Then came the infamous Colorado incident in December 1992. Daly had bought a house in Castle Pines, Colorado. He later wrote that buying a home in a place with so much snow made little sense for a professional golfer. But the reason was simple. He wanted a fresh start with his wife, Betty, and his young daughter, Sheena. John and Betty were already having serious marital problems. The conflict returned quickly. At one point, John left Colorado and went back to Arkansas. Betty persuaded him to return and spend Christmas with the family. On December 19, a party was held at the Daly home. Around 12 people were there. They were drinking, dancing, and having a good time. According to Daly's account, Betty became jealous when he danced with a female friend. She became angry and went upstairs. John then lost his temper. He damaged parts of the house. He kicked in a 5-7-inch television, damaged the kitchen, and smashed a trophy case. Betty later came downstairs and confronted him again. Daly decided he had to leave. He said he walked past her, bumped into her, and drove to Arkansas with his brother in the middle of the night. Someone called the police. Daly said he never learned who made the call. Betty did not want to press charges. However, she initially told police that Daly had pushed her against a wall and pulled her hair. Other people at the party did not support the claim that he had physically attacked her. Days later, Betty issued a formal statement through her lawyer. It said, "I was not struck or physically injured in the incident. I neither reported the incident nor requested the sheriff's department to intervene." Authorities still refused to drop the case. To end the matter, Daly pleaded guilty to harassment. He received 2 years of probation I never hit Betty. I have never hit any woman, and I never will. There are many things I will not say, I will never do, because I might, but I will never hit a woman. Period. The incident followed Daly for years. Many golf writers and media outlets portrayed him as an abuser. More trouble soon arrived. PGA Tour Commissioner Dean Beeman gave Daly a choice. He could leave the tour voluntarily and seek professional help, or he could face a fine and suspension. Daly agreed to treatment. He drove to Sierra Tucson, an addiction treatment center in Arizona. During the drive, Daly contemplated suicide. A telephone conversation with a close friend helped stop him. He entered Sierra Tucson in January 1993 and stayed for several weeks. John and Betty briefly reconciled. Divorce papers were filed in the spring. Daly returned to competition in 1993. He missed 3 consecutive cuts at the Phoenix Open, the AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am, and the Buick Invitational. But the year was not entirely bad. He tied for 3rd at the Masters. It remained the best finish of his career at Augusta National. The 1993 U.S. Open was held at Baltusrol Golf Club in Springfield, New Jersey. During the second round, Daly stood on the tee of the massive 630-yard par 5 17th hole. He hit a drive about 325 yards. Then he pulled out a 1-iron from nearly 290 yards. He reached the green in 2 shots. It was believed to be the first time a player had reached that version of the 17th hole in 2 during a U.S. Open. Later that season, in November, Daly picked up his ball on the 11th green before completing the hole. Dean Beeman fined him another $30,000 and suspended him indefinitely. Daly later said the suspension may have helped him. Since winning the PGA in 1991, I had not worked hard enough on my game. I used the time away to practice. He did not return to competitive golf until March 1994. He immediately tied for 4th at the Honda Classic. Then he won the Bell South Classic. It was his 3rd PGA Tour victory. Once again, he proved that he could play elite golf. Another suspension followed later that year. During the NEC World Series of Golf, Daly twice drove the green while another player, Jeff Roth, was still putting. Daly later became involved in a fight with Roth's father. The 2 men wrestled to the ground before spectators separated them. The tour fined Daly $13,000 and suspended him for the rest of the season. His personal life was also in ruins. He was still going through the divorce from Betty. The divorce was not finalized until 1995. Daly was also struggling with antidepressant medication. Some players on tour began to distance themselves from him. Before the 1994 Open Championship, Daly made controversial comments about drug use on the PGA Tour. There are certain people on tour who do crazy things. They are never going to be exposed unless the police catch them and put them in jail. Drugs, cocaine, and other crazy things. I wish we had drug testing on tour. If we did, I would probably be one of the cleanest guys out there. Daly later said his words had been twisted. The next day, he tried to clarify them. I do not know anybody who uses drugs on tour. I have heard rumors. I do not know it for a fact, but I believe it. Several players reacted angrily. Greg Norman criticized Daly's comments. Scottish golfer Gordon Brand Jr. called them a load of rubbish. Curtis Strange said Daly should crawl back under the rock he came from. Daly's game was suffering. His personal life was a nightmare. Members of the golf media, the PGA Tour establishment, and some players had turned against him. They wanted him to disappear. But Daly did not go away. Instead, he arrived at the most famous golf course in the world with a mission. He wanted to win. He also wanted to prove those people wrong. Bobby Jones once said that no golf career was complete without winning at St. Andrews. The 1995 Open Championship was held on the old course at St. Andrews, the home of golf. Since his 1991 PGA Championship victory, Daly had won 2 more tournaments. He had also missed 30 cuts and 90 starts. He had received 2 suspensions, entered rehabilitation, and been fined repeatedly. He had married, become a father, divorced, married again, and become a father for a second time. His new wife was Paulette. Daly had remained sober since treatment. His diet, however, seemed to consist mainly of M&Ms, cigarettes, and ice cream. The pressure was enormous. It did not come only from golf. During the 1995 Open, Daly said he owed casinos around $4 million in gambling debts. They wanted their money. Very few people expected him to contend. John Daly did. Going into the 1995 Open, I was a train wreck. Yet somehow, I felt pretty good about my chances. One reason was simple. Daly loved the old course. The minute I stepped onto the first tee for a practice round, I felt at home. It was not his first experience at St. Andrews. He had played the old course in the 1993 Dunhill Cup and went 4 and 1-inch his matches. A rarely mentioned detail was the identity of Daly's caddy that week. It was Greg Rita. Rita had been Curtis Strange's caddy during Strange's back-to-back US Open victories. Yes, that same Curtis Strange. The 1995 championship was also Tiger Woods' first appearance in the Open. It was Arnold Palmer's last. Daly opened with a 67. He later called it the best competitive round he had ever played because the wind was so strong. At 5 under par, he shared the lead with Tom Watson, Ben Crenshaw, and Mark McNulty. On Friday, Daly faced a putt of around 180 feet on the 12th hole. I think the hardest I swung all day was on that first putt at 12. He putted extremely well throughout the week. Daly shot 71 inches the second round. At 6 under par, he shared the lead with Brad Faxon and Katsuyoshi Tomori. On Saturday, Daly slipped backward with a 73. New Zealand's Michael Campbell shot 65 and took the lead at 9 under par. Campbell led Costantino Rocca by 2 strokes. Steve Elkington was 3 behind. Daly, Ernie Els, Corey Pavin, and Katsuyoshi Tomori were 4 shots back. Everything came down to Sunday at St. Andrews. Daly made birdie at the 4th hole and moved closer to the lead. Campbell began dropping shots and quickly surrendered his advantage. At the par 3/8, Daly hit a beautiful shot through the wind and made birdie. Suddenly, he was leading. At the famous road hole, the par 4 17th, Daly hit his second shot into the road hole bunker. My playing partner, Ernie, had been in the same place and got out. That gave me some confidence. Unfortunately, my ball was too close to the face of the bunker for me even to think about going at the pin. Daly escaped safely. He made bogey. At the 18th, he hit 2 good shots and took 2 putts. He finished at 6 under par. He was the leader in the clubhouse. Meanwhile, Costantino Rocca hit his approach at the 17th onto the road behind the green. What followed was extraordinary. Rocca chose his putter for the recovery. The ball jumped into the air after striking a stone at the perfect angle. It bounced from the path onto the putting surface and stopped close to the hole. Rocca made the putt to save par. At the short par 4 18th, he hit a good drive. A chip and a putt would tie Daly, and Rocca mishit the chip. The ball barely moved and finished in the Valley of Sin. He still faced an uphill putt of about 65 feet. It climbed a steep slope. It broke sharply to the right, then turned back toward the hole. Daly watched from inside. Surely the title was his. Then Rocca made the putt. He had done the unthinkable. The Open would be decided by a 4-hole aggregate playoff. The playoff holes were the 1st, 2nd, 17th, and 18th. Rocca hit a fairway wood from the first tee. Daly hit a 1-iron. Rocca missed his par putt on the first hole. Daly made par and took a 1-shot lead. At the second, Daly produced more short game magic and made birdie. He moved 2 shots ahead with 2 holes remaining. At the 17th, Rocca hit into the road hole bunker. Daly, playing from the rough, produced a perfect links-style recovery. The playoff was almost decided. Rocca needed 3 attempts to escape the bunker. He made a triple bogey 7. Daly 2-putted for par. He walked to the final hole with a 5-shot lead. A final par completed the victory. John Daly was the 1995 Open champion. It was his 2nd major title. The happiest 4 days of my golf life were the 4 days of the 1995 Open Championship. I could play that course every day for the rest of my life. That is how much I love it. Daly returned to the United States as a hero. Later that summer, he played in the PGA Championship, but missed the cut. The 1996 season was not especially strong. Daly recorded only one top 1-0 finish, although he made 14 cuts in 23 events. Something unusual happened at the US Open at Oakland Hills. Daly knew that missing fairways would be heavily punished. He asked Wilson to build a special driving iron. The result was the 0 iron, with around 12 degrees of loft. It gave Daly more control from the tee while sacrificing less distance than a conventional 1 iron. He did not come close to winning. He finished tied for 27th. However, it remained the best US Open finish of his career. For the golf media, the larger story was that Daly had begun drinking again. According to Daly, the relapse began when a hotel in Sweden left his minibar fully stocked. His representatives normally called hotels in advance and asked them to remove the alcohol. This hotel did not. Daly released a statement. "It is true that I have had beers on several occasions this summer, but I have not been involved in any alcohol-related incidents." At the 1997 Players' Championship, Daly opened with a 76. He was disappointed with his game and struggling with his marriage to Paulette. He went to a bar and drank for hours. He eventually returned to his hotel and collapsed near a door leading to the kitchen. He later woke up in hospital. Paulette was gone. She soon filed for divorce. The divorce was finalized in 1999. Daly decided to enter the Betty Ford Center. This time, nobody forced him to go. He went because he wanted help. While Daly was in treatment, he lost his 2 main golf sponsors. Then a new sponsor appeared. Ely Callaway, the founder of Callaway Golf, visited Daly during treatment. He spoke directly. "John, we want to sign you. Can you get yourself together?" After completing treatment, Daly returned with a new sponsor. The Callaway agreement reportedly paid him a base salary of $1.2 million per year, plus performance bonuses and stock options. Callaway also helped settle about $1.7 million in debts, including gambling debts. The contract contained strict conditions. Daly could not drink. He could not gamble. He also had to follow an aftercare program. Daly began 1998 with 2 top 5 finishes. He tied for 4th at the Nissan Open. The next week, he tied for 4th at the Honda Classic. Then came one of the most infamous holes of his career. At the Bay Hill Invitational, Daly made an 18 on the par 5 6th hole. After his tee shot found trouble, he repeatedly attempted to carry the water with a 3-wood. He hit 6 consecutive balls into the hazard. Eventually, he cleared the water. Another shot finished in a greenside bunker. He escaped and 2-putted for a hard-earned 18. No complete broadcast footage of the hole has surfaced. That is remarkable, because it happened during a Sunday round. Tom Watson, one of Daly's playing partners, said, "That has got to be a record." In classic Daly fashion, he made birdie on the next hole. In 1999, Daly won the JCPenney Classic with Laura Davies. It was a mixed-team event. Daly and Davies came from behind and defeated Paul Azinger and Say Pack in a playoff. A 1999 edition of Shell's Wonderful World of Golf featuring Daly against Fred Couples also became a memorable exhibition match. Later that year, Daly resumed drinking and gambling. Callaway ended the endorsement agreement. He forfeited the remaining years of the contract, reportedly worth about $3 million annually. The 1999 US Open was played at Pinehurst No. 2. It became Payne Stewart's final major victory. On the 8th hole, Daly was beyond the green. He hit 2 putts that rolled back toward him. On the 3rd attempt, he struck the ball while it was still moving. Afterward, he attacked the USGA's course setup. I have had it with the USGA and the way they run their tournaments. They set the hole locations very difficult. When you hit good shots and are not rewarded, I think it is crazy. As the decade ended, Daly's life had already produced extraordinary highs and devastating lows. The year 2000 became the worst season of his professional career to that point. He made only 10 cuts in 26 events. He withdrew from the US Open at Pebble Beach after an opening round 83. He was never likely to contend that week. Tiger Woods dominated the championship and won by 15 strokes. Daly ended the 2000 season ranked 507th in the world. His career appeared to be finished, but with John Daly, finished rarely meant finished. His next official victory on either the PGA Tour or European Tour came in 2001. He won the BMW International Open in Germany at 27 under par. His total of 261 became the tournament's record-winning score. On the 29th of July 2001, Daly married his fourth wife, Sherry Miller. The marriage eventually produced serious problems. It also produced something Daly treasured. Their son, John Daly II, was born in 2003. In 2002, Daly won the PGA Tour driving distance title for the 11th and final time. He had also become the first player to average more than 300 yards from the tee over a PGA Tour season, reaching that mark in 1997. Daly led the tour in driving distance for 8 consecutive eligible seasons. The one disputed year was 1994. Davis Love III received the official title, even though Daly's recorded average was longer. The usual explanation was that Daly did not play enough events to qualify. However, Golf Digest later noted that Fred Couples appeared in the official rankings despite playing fewer tournaments than Daly. Whatever the reason, Daly was not officially credited with the 1,994 title. On the 28th of July 2003, Sherry Miller and her parents were charged in connection with money laundering tied to an illegal drug and gambling operation. Sherry later served several months in prison for her role. With that personal drama surrounding him, Daly entered 2004 looking for a better season. He found one. He made more cuts than in any season of his career except 1,991, and he returned to the winner's circle. At the Buick Invitational, Daly entered a 3-man playoff with Luke Donald and Chris Riley. On the first extra hole, he hit a long bunker shot to only a few inches from the cup. He made birdie and won. The Buick breathed life back into my golf career. I was crying because the win proved that I was not some washed-up has-been who had drowned his talent. There is another remarkable fact about Daly's career. He was never chosen for a United States Ryder Cup team. In 2004, the American team lost to Europe by 18.5 points to 9.5. Daly had won earlier that season. He had also finished second in another event only weeks before the Ryder Cup. At the end of the year, he was named the PGA Tour Comeback Player of the Year. He had not been selected in 1991 after winning the PGA Championship. He was not selected in 1995 after winning the Open. Daly became the only American or European golfer with 2 major championships who was never selected for a Ryder Cup team. The 2005 season was another strong one. Daly lost a playoff to Vijay Singh at the Shell Houston Open. Later, he lost another playoff to Tiger Woods at the WGC American Express Championship at Harding Park. On the second extra hole, Daly missed a putt of about 2 feet. The miss handed the victory to Woods. Afterward, Daly went to Las Vegas. He later said he lost somewhere between $1.5 and $2 million at the casino. In his autobiography, Daly estimated that he had lost between $50 and $60 million through gambling over his lifetime. The book included an entire chapter titled Stand By Your Woman. In it, Daly defended his wife Sherry and discussed many of the problems surrounding their relationship. In 2007, the relationship turned violent. Daly said Sherry attacked him with a steak knife. He appeared at the Stanford Street Jude Championship with visible injuries to his face. Sherry later claimed Daly had caused the injuries himself. The couple eventually divorced. Daly later received custody of their son, John Daly II. The 2008 season was disastrous for Daly. It was also surrounded by controversy. In March, Coach Butch Harmon publicly criticized Daly's drinking. My whole goal for him was to show me that golf was the most important thing in his life. The most important thing in his life is getting drunk. Daly responded with disappointment. I wish he had called me. That is all. I love him like a brother. I think he is the greatest golf coach anywhere. This is unfortunate. I just wish he had called me. In October, about 10 days after missing the cut at a tournament in Nevada, Daly was taken into police custody outside a Hooters restaurant in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. A mugshot was released. Many reports said he had been arrested. He had not. Police later explained that Daly had been taken into protective custody because of his condition. They said it was not a criminal offense. The PGA Tour later suspended him. The suspension remained in place even after the police clarified that Daly had not been arrested. On the course, 2008 was one of the worst years of his career. He made only 5 cuts in 17 events. He earned around $56,000. Most of his starts came through sponsor exemptions. Around this period, Daly met Anna Klodakis. She became his fiancée and a stabilizing presence in his life. By the time this story was originally told, the couple had been together for more than 15 years. Daly often described her as a guiding light for him and his family. His years of turbulent relationships were beginning to settle. His days of winning regular PGA Tour events were also nearing an end. Daly tied for 18th at the 2012 PGA Championship, but he did not win another PGA Tour event. His life, however, was changing for the better. His personal situation became more stable. He spent more time raising his son and daughters. By many accounts, he was finally enjoying his life. Daly still wanted another professional victory. This time, it would have to come on the PGA Tour Champions. That victory arrived at the 2017 Insperity Invitational. Daly made a birdie putt on the 13th hole and protected his lead to the finish. He won at 14 under par. It was his first victory on the senior tour. He later added a runner-up finish and several top 1-0 results. Then came serious health news. On the 10th of September 2020, Daly revealed that he had bladder cancer. Just over a month later, he shot a 64 at the TimberTech Championship. It was his lowest tournament round on United States soil at that point. He had shot 63 inches the opening round of the 2001 BMW International Open in Germany. The TimberTech round carried extra meaning. Nearly 10 years earlier, in 2010, Daly had spoken as though he might be finished with golf. Once again, he returned. Big John also found success outside tournament golf. In 2005, he bought his old home course and renamed it Lions Den Golf Club. He redesigned the property and became involved in the design of several other courses. There was also his partnership with LabMath Golf. Beginning around 2009, Daly wore the company's brightly patterned trousers at tournament after tournament. His visibility became closely connected to the brand's identity. By 2023, much of the attention around the Daly family had shifted toward his son, John Daly II. The younger Daly had a strong swing, a promising mindset, and clear potential. He was also sponsored by Hooters. In 2021, John Daly and his son defeated Tiger Woods and Charlie Woods to win the PNC Championship. Many golf fans hope to see John Daly II and Charlie Woods compete against each other again in the future. How do you summarize a life like John Daly's? His career appeared to be finished countless times. Then he returned and won again. His ability to survive was remarkable. Many people wonder how great he could have been with sobriety, stronger guidance, and more disciplined practice. But that kind of controlled life may never have suited John Daly. It is amazing. Wherever we went, I would set course records. I would be barefoot and drunk, playing golf and making every 2-0-footer I looked at. Despite all the chaos, Daly became a world-class golfer. He competed against the best players of his generation. He endured the pain of an abusive father. He struggled with alcohol, failed marriages, prescription medication, and gambling. Still, he built an extraordinary career. His success on the PGA Tour came in concentrated bursts. 4 of his 5 official PGA Tour victories arrived within a 4-year period. One quality became obvious when studying his life. Daly rarely hides from his faults. His failures are public. Instead of pretending they never happened, he often admits them. Daly continued to gamble occasionally, drink, and smoke. One thing remained unchanged from 1991. His fans stayed with him. They supported him through victories, collapses, scandals, suspensions, illness, and recovery. Against the odds, John Daly won 2 major championships. One of them came at the old course at St. Andrews. He inspired millions of people to watch and play golf. He created a legacy that cannot be duplicated. Simply put, there will never be another professional golfer like John Daly. I am just a country boy from the small town of Dardanelle, Arkansas. I have been very fortunate to come through many of the lows in my life. I'm grateful that the tour, the people at home, and everyone around me put up with some of the things I did. I guess I am not bigger than life. Nobody is. Maybe Elvis was. I do not know.